Not reserving a little bit, or I'm going to give God a little bit of my heart, and reserving my options, right? Keeping my options open, because I might be listening to somebody else, or what I want to do, or what I think is best. He says, no. When you get to the place where you say, I'm trusting God in you with all of my heart. It's a hard issue when you start to make decisions. The first place you start is, am I trusting? And he goes on to the second part of the verse. And he says, here's the flip side. Here's the contrast. He says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Literally, don't put your weight or dependence on something. It's a picture of a ladder leaning up against a wall. Don't lean your ladder against a wall that's going to give way. Surely you've been in situations where somebody says, oh, don't lean on that. Your weight's going to be too much for it. Right? And so here he says, here's the contrast to trusting in God. Leaning on your own understanding. And so this is basically like, hey, saying in situations where you're making decisions, hey, I'm not going to just try to sort this one out on my own. And some of us would look at this verse and we would say, oh, but Brian, I'm pretty financially savvy. But Brian, I'm pretty relationally savvy. I mean, I'm pretty good with my marriage. I'm pretty good at work. I'm doing pretty well. I can sort this out for myself. And God says, no, you don't get it. When you get to the place where you say, I'm not going to try to figure this out based upon how I interpret my current circumstances. I'm not going to try to figure this out based upon how smart I am or how good I am or how much I can get this done out of my prowess. He says, when you get to the place of trusting me, now you're on the right track. And he goes on in verse 6 and he says this. In all your ways, that is, regardless if you're trying to make a financial decision, he's saying, what about the rest of your life? In all your ways, acknowledge him. So in everything that you do, when you're at work, how you interact with coworkers, when you're at your kids' soccer team meeting and you're interacting with parents, when you're interacting with your family at home, when you're interacting with your extended family, everything in all your ways, acknowledge him. Now that's a really weak rendering of the Hebrew. Acknowledge there, it's like someone's watching a movie and I walk into the room and they turn and acknowledge me. Oh, hey Brian, what's up? No, this idea of acknowledge is something much stronger. It's to be riveted to God. It's to be completely focused on God. It's to be completely and utterly